You ever look out into the night and feel like something is looking back? That's how it all started. It was early August in a quiet suburb outside of Asheville, North Carolina. The air was thick with heat, crickets chirped like broken clocks, and the night sky held that deep violet hue that comes just before full darkness. My name's Darren, and when this happened, I had just turned 18. My parents were out of town, an anniversary trip to the mountains, which left me alone in our old two-story house tucked between dense trees and nosy neighbors. It was the first time in years they'd left me unsupervised. I thought I'd enjoy it. I thought I'd be fine. I wasn't. I invited my girlfriend at the time, Casey, over for the weekend. She was impulsive, loud, and way too comfortable breaking rules. That made things exciting, I guess. She came over Friday night with a bottle of something cheap and her mischievous grin. We watched old horror movies and laughed way too hard for how predictable they were. It was supposed to be a fun, stupid weekend. Just us. Alone. The first weird thing happened around 11 p.m. We were swimming. My family had this small, oval-shaped in-ground pool in the backyard. It was lit from within, casting this strange blue shimmer onto the trees and the white siding of the house. Casey dared me to skinny dip. I hesitated. She didn't. Her clothes hit the ground like an ultimatum. A few minutes later, I joined her, reluctantly, nervously scanning the fence line. I remember the water being oddly warm, and I remember how calm it all felt at first, like the world was on mute. From the pool, you could see the back of the house, specifically the large sliding glass doors that led into the living room. The lights inside were still on, which made the whole house look like a stage. From where I floated, I could see our gray couch, the stairs leading up, the framed pictures on the wall, all of it illuminated. And then I saw him, just for a second, a shadow, movement, behind the curtain. It wasn't me, and it definitely wasn't Casey. My brain didn't even fully register it until a moment later. When I looked again, the space was empty. I blinked. Nothing. Casey was laughing about something, but her voice sounded distant, warped, like I was underwater. I didn't say anything at first. I just stared at that spot behind the curtain, hoping I'd imagined it. But then I saw it again, more clearly this time. There was a man inside my house, and he was watching us. I grabbed Casey by the arm under the water. She stopped laughing instantly. "We need to get out," I whispered. My voice sounded shaky even to myself. She gave me a confused look, half laughing like she thought I was joking. But I wasn't. I wasn't smiling. I wasn't blinking. That's when her face changed. We got out of the pool as quietly as we could, wrapping towels around ourselves. I didn't want to say too much. I didn't want whoever it was inside to know I'd seen them. I led Casey to the small pool shed, more like a storage room, really, and told her to stay inside, lock the door from the inside, and turn off the light. To her credit, she didn't argue. Once she disappeared behind the door, I grabbed the rusted hammer we kept near the pool pump. It was the only thing remotely like a weapon I could find out there. I slipped through the back door into the kitchen, barefoot, dripping water onto the tile floor. The house was quiet, too quiet. I stood there for a moment, listening. The hum of the fridge, the faint buzz of a light bulb overhead. Nothing else. But I knew what I saw. I crept through the hallway, heart pounding, eyes darting. Every shadow felt alive. Every corner was something waiting. As I moved through the living room, I noticed something odd. The photo of my grandparents on the side table had been turned around, facing the wall. A glass of water, filled halfway, sat on the coffee table. I hadn't poured it. Neither had Casey. I moved slowly toward the stairs, gripping the hammer tighter. My palms were wet, not just from the pool. Upstairs was dark. I hadn't left it that way, and the silence wasn't peaceful. It was heavy, like the house was holding its breath. I made it halfway up the stairs when a sudden creak above me froze my legs. Someone was up there. The sound was unmistakable. A slow, deliberate footstep on the wooden floor just above the landing. I waited. Another creak, and then silence. I didn't go up. I backed down, slowly, every step a betrayal of my courage. My instincts screamed at me, this wasn't normal. This wasn't a burglary. No one steals nothing, drinks water, and walks around barefoot while you're home. This felt personal. I went back outside and unlocked the pool shed. Casey was curled in a corner, hugging her knees. "We're leaving," I told her. She didn't even ask questions, just grabbed her phone and followed me. I locked the house up, jumped into my old Jeep, and we drove to the nearest 24-hour diner. Sat there until sunrise, sipping burnt coffee, trying not to talk about what we both knew had happened. The next morning, I returned to the house alone. All the doors were locked, all the windows sealed, but the house didn't feel empty. It felt watched. The glass of water was gone, but something else was missing too. Every single knife from the kitchen drawer, gone. All of them. That detail didn't hit me until I was halfway through the kitchen, and when it did, I felt my stomach drop like an elevator with cut cables. Who breaks into a house and takes only the knives? That's not theft. That's intent. That night, Casey refused to come back. Couldn't blame her. I slept in the guest room with the door locked and a baseball bat next to me. I didn't even bother going upstairs. Around 3:30 a.m., I heard soft creaking again. Floorboards above me groaning like someone shifting their weight. My eyes opened wide. I was fully awake. It moved slowly. One step, then another, then silence. I didn't move until daylight, and when I finally got up the courage to go upstairs, the only thing out of place was a small folded note lying on my pillow. A piece of torn paper, yellowed at the edges. No name, no date, just 5 words, written in jagged, uneven handwriting. "I like your pool lights." I stood there staring at the note, that cheap little scrap of paper, and I swear, just for a moment, I forgot how to breathe. "I like your pool lights." It wasn't a threat. It wasn't even aggressive, but somehow that made it worse. It was casual, like someone had been there long enough to admire something as simple as the ambience of my backyard. I checked the locks again. Every single one was secured. All the windows latched. No broken glass. No scuffs on the floor. It was like the house had sealed itself after letting him in, and then out again. Or maybe he never left. That thought, it didn't come gently. It didn't tiptoe in like some creeping paranoia. It hit me hard, because when I looked back at the note, I noticed something else. It wasn't written with a pen or marker. The letters were too soft, too uneven. They looked like they were burned, charred into the paper with something heated, maybe the edge of a metal rod, or even a cigarette. And that smell, like singed fabric. I hadn't noticed it before, but it was there, faint in the air. Not smoke, not quite, but something scorched. I didn't tell Casey about the note. She'd already blocked me for 3 days after the diner. I figured she blamed me. Maybe she thought I set her up or made the whole thing some sick prank. I didn't blame her. That's probably what I'd think too, if I didn't know better. But I did, and I couldn't ignore what was happening. I started sleeping downstairs on the couch, bat in hand, lights on, every night. For 3 nights, nothing happened. Then, on the 4th, I heard the doorbell. It was 2:47 a.m. I sat up fast, heart pounding, eyes on the front door across the living room. The porch light was on, casting a blurry, yellow hue over the frosted glass window. A shadow moved behind it, a tall shape, motionless at first, then knock, knock, knock. 3 slow, deliberate taps. Not the doorbell, just knuckles on wood. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. Then, without warning, the doorbell rang again. I gripped the bat, took 2 steps toward the door, then stopped, because something clicked. The porch light wasn't on when I went to bed. I never leave that light on, which meant someone turned it on from inside the house. That was the first time I called the cops again. They came, looked around. Of course, no one was there. No prints, no broken locks, no sign of forced entry. But one of the officers, an older guy, he didn't seem as dismissive as the others. After the search, he pulled me aside on the porch and asked quietly, "Have you ever seen someone looking in, through the windows?" His question caught me off guard. My throat went dry. "I thought I did," I replied. "A few nights ago." He nodded slowly, almost like he'd expected that answer. "I've seen a few cases like this," he said. "No break-ins, no stolen items, just small things, subtle changes. Light bulbs unscrewed, doors unlocked after you know you locked them. Furniture moved an inch, like someone's testing your attention span." I asked what he meant. He hesitated before answering. "Sometimes people like this don't want your things. They want you, but they want to know your habits first. Where you sleep, what you fear, how you respond to stress." He left me with one last sentence before he walked back to his cruiser. "If you feel like you're being watched, don't try to outsmart it. Don't play their game. Just leave." But I didn't leave. I didn't have anywhere else to go. And I was starting to understand something I wasn't ready to say out loud. This wasn't just a stalker. It wasn't just a person. It was something else. And it was still inside the house. That night, I didn't sleep. I didn't try to sleep. Instead, I sat in the center of the living room with every light on, curtains drawn back, knife in one hand, my dad's old hunting flashlight in the other. The bat lay across my lap like a pet I didn't trust to leave my side. But I wasn't scared in the same way anymore. I was waiting. It felt like that was what it wanted, to wear me down, to break that fragile line between fear and obsession. And I could feel it working. The more I paid attention, the more I saw things I wasn't sure were there, like the smudge on the inside of the second-floor window. I hadn't noticed it earlier, but from where I sat now, it looked like the outline of a palm. Not a full handprint, just the ghost of one, like someone had pressed their hand to the glass. From the inside, I went upstairs to check it. It was gone. No smudge, no dust, nothing. Just the reflection of my own face staring back at me through the darkness. But behind my reflection, I saw something move. A flicker. Not in the window. In the hallway behind me. I spun around. Nothing. Only the faint sound of the AC humming through the vents. But something was wrong. Very wrong. The hallway smelled different. Like mildew. Like wet wood. Like something had been dragged through it. I walked slowly back toward my bedroom, and that's when I saw it. A line. A thin, wet trail across the floorboards, leading from the linen closet at the end of the hallway to my door. The trail shimmered slightly in the hallway light. I touched it with my fingertips. It was warm, like bath water, but it wasn't water. It was thick. I backed away and ran down the stairs, heart hammering so loud I thought it might burst through my chest. I needed air. I needed to leave. But when I reached for the front door, the knob wouldn't turn. I hadn't locked it. I never lock the door from the inside when I'm home. But now it was stuck, like someone had jammed something into the mechanism. I sprinted to the back door. Same thing. Then the windows. Every one of them painted shut. I should have broken the glass. I don't know why I didn't. Maybe it was the sound, the sudden click of the light switch upstairs being turned off. One by one, the hallway lights above me died out. Click, click, click. Darkness spread like ink across the ceiling, and I froze in place. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. It was just one sentence. "Don't turn around yet." I didn't. I stood there, breath held so tight I thought my ribs would crack. My hand gripped the bat like it could save me from whatever was behind me. The silence stretched and stretched until it broke with a voice. Right behind my ear. "I've seen you swim." I turned, swinging wildly. Nothing. Just the hallway. Empty. But the bat hit something in the air. Something I couldn't see, but I felt it. Like moving through static. The hair on my arms stood up. My skin tingled. I didn't wait. I ran upstairs, locked myself in the bathroom, and sat with my back against the door, shaking. For hours. I don't remember falling asleep, but when I woke up, there was another note on the sink, written on the back of one of my own receipts. "You left the pool light on again." The next few days blurred. Time lost all meaning. I stopped going outside, stopped responding to texts. My friends thought I'd gone off the grid. They weren't wrong. Every night it got closer. Not louder, not more violent, just closer. I'd find the fridge open. A single fork moved on the counter. My toothpaste cap unscrewed and resting perfectly upright beside the sink. None of it meant anything until it all did, because every detail whispered the same thing. "I'm inside, and I'm watching how you live." I don't know how long I lasted. Maybe a week, maybe less. I stopped keeping track of days when I realized time meant nothing to it. Whether it was 2 p.m. or 2 a.m., it could move. It did move. It left signs. Small, almost polite intrusions. But then came the dreams. I'd fall asleep for only minutes, on the couch, in the bathtub, wherever I felt safest, and I'd find myself standing outside my house, in the backyard, staring at the pool. The water glowed that same electric blue, casting ripples of light up the siding. And there, in the window, I'd see myself, inside, standing still, watching me, each night the same dream, until I realized it wasn't a dream, because one morning I woke up outside, lying in the grass, naked, staring up at my own house, and the sliding glass door was open. I didn't tell anyone. What could I even say? I started going through the attic, the crawl space, tapping walls for hidden panels. I felt like I was losing my mind, but that was better than pretending nothing was happening. Then one night I found it. A door. Behind the shelves in the basement utility room. A door I swear had never been there before. Metal. Bolted shut from my side. Like it was meant to keep something in. I opened it. It led to a narrow concrete hallway. Damp, cold, lined with decaying insulation and spider webs. At the far end, another door. Wooden. Splintered. No knob. I approached it slowly, light from my phone shaking in my hand. And as I got closer, I heard breathing. Not growling, not speaking, just slow, rhythmic breathing, like someone just on the other side of the door, waiting. I didn't open it. I ran, back upstairs, out the front door, down the street. Didn't stop until I reached a neighbor's porch and banged on the door like a lunatic. They let me in, called the cops again. When they arrived, I told them everything, showed them the door, the hallway, the sounds. But when we went back into the basement, the metal door was gone. Just solid concrete wall behind the shelves. No cracks, no dust, like it had never existed. They looked at me like I was sick, told me to talk to someone, and maybe they were right. But then, that night, I received an email. No subject, no sender, just a video file. It was security footage from my own living room camera. I didn't even know the system was still hooked up. My dad had installed it years ago and disabled it when the internet bill got too high. But there it was, grainy footage, time-stamped from 2 nights ago. It showed me sleeping on the couch, tossing, turning, and then at 3:13 a.m. someone stepped into frame, tall, thin, face distorted by the angle and light, moving slowly, not from the stairs, not from the hallway, from behind the couch, like they'd been standing there the entire time, just watching me. And at the end of the clip, just before it cut to static, they leaned down, inches from my sleeping face, and whispered something. I replayed it over and over, trying to hear what they said, until finally I boosted the volume enough to catch it. "You're in my house now." I left the next day. I packed what I could, threw it into the back of my car, and never looked back. I don't know what it was or what it is now, whether it was a ghost, a stalker, a thing that mimics the shape of men. I don't care anymore, but sometimes, when I'm lying awake in my new apartment in a new city, I still hear the soft knock of knuckles on wood, 3 slow taps, and when I look, and I know, followed me